individual speakers get in touch with me if you want parts of recording to be edited out after the meeting. Second, let's try not to talk about religion, politics, sex. And if you're going to do that, then let's do so in a manner that will not offend anyone in this room. Understand that we have an international audience in this room, so best to stay clear of this topic. Third, any unruly behavior that is not in conformance with the values of Toastmasters International, which is integrity, respect, service, and excellence, will result in you being removed from this room. We are in a virtual meeting. That does not mean that we cannot applaud for each other. Please feel free to use the icons at the bottom, the emoticons, to encourage the speakers. Unless prompted, do not unmute yourself. And as far as possible, keep your videos open. Today, being a special meeting, I will not be inviting the presiding officer. Instead, I will head straight over to the Toastmaster of the day, who's been incredibly supportive in making this work. She's doing a Toastmaster for a speech marathon for the first time, so let us extend her our full support. It is my pleasure to now invite the ever smiling, the ever effervescent, the ever energetic Toastmaster Haritika Ahuja.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rupinder sir. Thank you so much. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. The theme for today's meeting is Awaken the Giant Within. And in order to do that, just apply the pain pleasure principle. Learn to associate pleasure with great actions that are backed up by empowered beliefs. And learn to associate pain with procrastination and unproductive habits. For example, all of us want to have healthy body, but we are procrastinating about we will go for working out from some later date because we associate some level of pain with working out. Instead, focus on associating exercising as pleasurable. If you have ever worked out, I am sure that you can assure that after having an intense workout, it feels pretty good. Now, that's all for the theme for today. Let me introduce the basic structure of a Toastmasters meeting. It comprises of three sections. One, prepared speech. Second, table topic. We don't have any table topic session today. And then the evaluation section. Today, the evaluation section is headed by Toastmaster Elisa. And due to paucity of time, I would not go ahead with explanation of role. Timer for today is Avjinder Singh. Our counter is Ruchita Malik. And grammarian is Sumit Janeja. The word of the day is fructify, which means making something fruitful and or productive. Example of using the word is Reliance has been in talks in Saudi Aramco for a stake sale in its refinery unit, although the transaction is yet to fructify. Its synonyms are improve, reproduce, and multiply. I would request the grammarian to share the word of the day in chat itself. Now let us begin with the first section, which is prepared speech. Our first speaker for the day is Amit Tandon. His evaluator is Sheila. He is giving his icebreaker, so I would request everyone to give a standing ovation after he completes his speech. Now, objective for his speech is for the member to introduce himself or herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. Can we have an audio video check for our first speaker?
Hello, is my audio working?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Thank you.
Toastmaster Amit Tandon. Standing tall, Toastmaster Amit Tandon.
Good morning and good evening, fellow Tower Toastmasters and guests. Today, I will be giving my icebreaker speech, which is a chance to introduce myself. My name is Amit, and like all of you, Today, I'm a person made up from my past experiences with the hope that this particular experience would make me a better person tomorrow. For starters, I would like to thank Surendra Bhomik. He's related to me in the sense that he's my grandmother's brother-in-law, but he's the one person who was asking me to join Toastmasters from as long as I can remember, probably as long as I've even started working. And it was just me out of my own apprehensions and the fact that I did not want to give up on my weekends during the time when we actually had physical meetings, that I was really, really apprehensive about joining it. So thank you, Shonuda, as I fondly call him. Now, coming back to my speech, traditionally an icebreaker would start with an introduction where I tell everyone about me working as a senior process systems engineer at Here Technologies Private Limited. But analyzing that statement a little more just makes me realize that it's just a part of who I am, and that is the primary thing that uh, helps me earn money to pay for all my other various experiences, which, as a sum total of all, make up of far more of what I am than what I actually work as. Being an optimist at heart and generally remaining at loggerheads with Murphy's law of anything that can go wrong will go wrong, I feel life is about hope of seeing light at the end of the tunnel and hoping that the coming day would be better than the current day. Being 28 years old, I understand that this optimism may not be in total agreement with a lot of people here. But coming to think of it, if someone can sleep well, thinking that the next day would be better than the current day, I feel it's worth the fate that it holds. After struggling with the speech outline worksheet for hours, I finally decided to put that aside and focus on points that make up that focus on points from that sheet and to work up a speech for all by myself. To work up for a speech all by myself. Of course, the points mentioned in the outline turned out to be helpful, and but I really started feeling that the amount of subsections in the outline started affecting my thought process on how to build a speech myself. In terms of my general approach to problem, I try simplifying things that to the extent that it is possible and to the extent that I can explain it to a layman as fast as and as easily as possible. To summarize my background, I did my schooling from schools in Kanpur and Delhi before completing my 12th standard from Sardar Patel Vidyalaya in 2011 with, science as my background. After which I completed BTech in computer science from Symbiosis International University in 2015. I was selected by IBM as a graduate hire in the same year, and now after 5 years, a few promotions and a couple of switches, I'm with Here Technologies. Through all these years of working, I've discovered that my passion well and truly lies in traveling and exploring new places. This particular passion that I have is further accentuated by the fact that I love traveling in groups and I love traveling in groups and I love forming big ones at that. So much so that during 2016, I did as many as 16 group tours with about 10 to 15 fellow graduate hires from IBM itself during the course of the entire year. In my free time at home, or those few and far weekends when I'm not traveling, I tend to involve myself in the upliftment of poor or just binge watching car and travel videos on YouTube. If I was doing this about a year back, I would have talked about going to movie theaters to watch the latest movies. But unfortunately, that is a thing of that has become a thing of luxury now. To summarize, at heart, I'm a traveler who loves keeping people happy and the atmosphere light. I earn to travel. I earn to travel and travel to kill off the work fatigue that comes at no extra cost at modern day workplaces. This just about covers all that I have for now. Now I would like to end by quoting a famous Hindi dialogue. बड़े बड़े देशों में छोटी छोटी बातें होती रहती हैं, meaning life is full of situations and we shouldn't really get bogged down by what happens at that particular instant to us. Thank you. Thank you. That I can see everyone standing up and clapping, and that is, I mean, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amit, for this wonderful speech. Let's move on to the second speaker for the day. Our second speaker for the day is Kapil Kakkar. His evaluator is Khushbu, and he is giving his speech from level 3, prepare for an interview from Path Presentation Mastery. Objective for his speech is for the member to practice the skills needed to present himself or herself in an interview. Can we have a audio video check for the speaker?
Yes, Haritika, can you hear me?
You are audible and visible.
All right, so Gayatri will be timing us and Avjinder will be my interviewer. So can you spotlight Avjinder as well? Yes. Hi, good morning, Avjinder. I am Kapil. I'm here for an... Sorry? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Kapil Kakkar, job interview, Kapil Kakkar.
Okay. Hi, good morning, Avjinder. I am Kapil. I am here for an interview for the position of finance controller.
Thank you for joining us, Kapil. Though I have your CV in front of me, but I would like to hear from you about yourself.
All right. I'm a chartered accountant and cost accountant having 18 plus year of work experience. Presently, I am associated with IBM. I've been with IBM for almost 8 years now, and I've been into financial planning and analysis and business operations. Prior to IBM, I had worked with organizations like Nokia and Motorola in the role of finance manager, pricing manager, and business finance professional. I completed my graduation from Shri Venkateshwar College. So yeah, that's a short description about myself.
Okay, good. So tell us, you have worked in large organizations and we are a startup. So why do you want to join us?
Okay. So Ajinder, I feel that startup companies offers bigger challenge to a professional because for a person like me who is a finance person, the size of finance in small organization or in startup is very small. So that means that one person has to do a lot of stuff like this, transfer pricing, auditing, accounting, taxation. Unlike the big organization where you do a certain part. So professionally, I feel that it would be a enriching experience and bit challenging as well. So I would love to explore startup experience.
Okay, this triggers another question. Having limited experience for a startup, why do you think we should hire you?
Okay. So it's not that I have not worked in a startup company. So if you look at my CV, you will find that prior to Motorola, I had worked with an organization called Actix for almost 2 years. That was a startup company. I worked there in the capacity of finance manager. So I was the only guy in that company. So doing everything, accounting entries, TDS, transfer pricing, taxation, everything. So I understand that I understand the atmosphere and the culture of startup companies. And why you should hire me, I would say that you would also not want to lose a candidate who brings the best of both worlds, because I have the experience of working in startup as well as I have the experience of working in big corporates. I understand that startup companies do struggle to initiate robust processes. So with my experience in big corporate, I think I can add value to your organization.
That's great. So tell me, Kapil, what motivates you?
Staying relevant to the business at all times keeps me motivated, because we know that we are living in a dynamic world. Skills that are needed today may not be relevant after 5 years or 10 years down the line. So that keeps me motivated. My quest to learn more keeps me motivated. I can cite one example. uh, Recently I have completed one short-term course on data science. Though it is not directly related with my FP&A role, but I know that in next 5 years or 10 years time, data science, artificial intelligence will be the core responsibilities of an accountant. So just because I want to learn something more, and there are so much to learn, that keeps me motivated, that how I can be the better version of myself.
That's good to know. So if you have to name one strength and one weakness, what would that be?
So I rate my skill set and my commitment level as my biggest asset, because I live by one statement that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I think I have both the traits. I'm talented as well as I'm hardworking. So it can be a lethal combination. And yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear. So where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
5 years down the line, I feel that I will be still working with your organization with a lot more responsibilities and helping your organization to achieve new heights.
That's good. What is your recent achievement? Tell us something recently that has happened.
Okay, so very recently, in November 2020, I got an award from my organization IBM. It is a CEO award, so I got an award from the IBM chairman Ginny Rometty and Arvind Krishna. Uh, Actually, it's not me who got that award. My account team got that award, and my account head recommended my name, because it is a sales award, but he still recommended my name to the CEO office, that Kapil contributed to the success of account, so he should also be given that award. I consider this as a feather in my cap, because very seldom in your career that you get an award from a CEO, that too from a big company. And had it not been COVID, I would have been invited to New York to receive that award personally. I would love to go to New York, because it's my favorite city in the world. I've been to New York earlier, but unfortunately couldn't go this time.
Yeah, we are all facing this issue. But congratulations on your award. Okay, final question. Explain me one challenge that you faced recently in your professional career and how did you overcome it?
There are numerous examples as such, but I would rather give an example from a startup company, because you will be able to relate it better. So when I joined that startup company, there was no accountant, no finance manager in that company, and that company was running for uh, almost 8 months. So no, so accounts were all in mess, or I would say there were no accounts at all. But the good thing that company did, that they were paying everything through check. Now when I joined that organization, I was given a timeline that uh, next month there is an audit, and you have to prepare all the books of accounts and get that audit done. Now what I did, I took out the bank statement, followed each and every line item, passed the journal entries, cleared the government dues like TDS payable, rent payables, and then brought the accounts in order. And I was able to get the audit done on time, and it was well applauded by the senior management. So I think it was a big challenge. Later on, when I joined that company, I was told by the senior management that, Kapil, we actually finalized two candidates, but both refused this offer when they came to know that there are so much complexity in the business. So I think that particular exercise helped me to gain the ground uh, in that company.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. You will receive a call from our HR department about the evaluations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Avjinder. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Kapil. Now, the third speaker for the day is Sharendra Bhaumik. His evaluator is Gayatri Deshmukh. He is giving the second speech from level 1 evaluation and feedback from team collaboration. The purpose of this project is for the member to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to a second speech. And the purpose of this speech is for the member to demonstrate that he or she has applied the feedback received from his or her first speech. The speaker is spotlighted. Can we have an audio video check?
Hello, am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Thank you.
Sharendra Bhaumik, Random Harvest, Sharendra Bhaumik.
Hello, Toastmasters and guests. Today, George Orwell's Animal Farm is being replayed in India with an agricultural twist. Well, let me explain the background for you. On 24th September last year, the government of India announced the farm laws of 2020. This law focuses mainly on three separate laws which empowers the farmers and frees them from the clutches of the middleman and wholesalers who control the economics of the agricultural sector in India. The result is that these middlemen and wholesalers are now instigating the farmers from certain states to protest against the new law. Farmers are being misguided and told that the farmers might lose more than they could gain after the new law is implemented. They are also being told that the government has left the farmers at the mercy of the big corporations. The farmers are given to believe that they who have small land holdings will have no bargaining power over private players. Hence, the government must repeal this farm law, which people are not accepting, or let's say these middlemen are not accepting. Now, even after 11 rounds of talks between the farmer leaders and the government, there remains a total stalemate. This has resulted in the farmers staging roadblocks at some entry and exit points to the national capital, that is Delhi. It is now over about 70 days, and the roadblocks have not been removed. And there has been a major law and order issue in Delhi due to this. Well, I'm not going to go into details into this whole thing, as it could be a separate speech topic. But seeing how things are panning out, I have been reminded of George Orwell's Animal Farm. In his book, Animal Farm, Orwell sacrosanctly summed up the basis of social and political injustice. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. In the context of this ongoing farmers' agitation, I would like to restate Orwell's comments and amend it to say all Kisans, that is, farmers, are equal, but some Kisans are more equal than others. This point was brought home to me very recently when a Facebook friend of my wife posted a picture of a large, detectable looking cauliflower, which she said she had bought at the local vegetable shop for rupees 7, which is about what? About 9 cents? 9 cents for a woofer of a cauliflower like that? It seemed like a steal from the farmer who grew it. If I account for the markup, the wholesaler who sold to the retailer and to the retailer who sold it to the customer, the farmer who grew the 7 rupees vegetable got precisely little for it, maybe just 50 paisa, which is less than 1 cent. The middlemen and large farmers who want the government's proposed agri reform scrapped are by and large growers of grains who are assured of a financial security by the minimum support price, or as they call it, the MSP, paid by the government for staples like wheat, rice, and pulses. And these are just the few who are getting the biggest share of the money in this agricultural sector. But unfortunately, there is no MSP nor much financial security for the farmer who grows vegetables and fruits and often have to sell these produces at throwaway prices. An example being the 7 rupees cauliflower. The price of food grains, items like, or let's say non-food grain items like onions, tomatoes, and potatoes skyrocket or just drop because of the manipulative control exercised by the wholesale market, which favors the big farmers who have political muscles at the expense of the fruit and vegetable farmers who have no political patronage. To make matters even worse, the wholesale market and the MSP system has resulted in the government godowns bursting at its seams with surplus grain, much of which will either rot or be eaten by rats. In a paradox of plenty, India reportedly suffered a loss of about 14 billion US dollars every year through food wastage, even as an estimated 190 million people go hungry every day. The government, in its effort to handle these anomalies, has now taken up this challenge, which for the last 70 years, no government was willing to face this vote bank of farmers or the rich farmers. And now, much to the annoyance of these affected big farmers and middlemen, the law is now out. But one thing is tragically clear. When it comes to farm policies, we don't know our metaphoric onions or even the 7 rupees literal cauliflowers. Because, as the Indians would say, all farmers are equal, but some farmers are more equal than others. I urge you to think about it. Should the small farmers be allowed to sell their produces to agencies who pay adequate prices or continue to be at the mercy of these middlemen who are like dragons? Can the small farmer break out the crutches of these middlemen and wholesalers? This is really the big question to be answered today. Today, we are in a situation where the animal farm is going topsy-turvy and the agriculture sector is under a lot of pressure from all around. think about it. Maybe there will be an answer in the near future. Thank you very much. Over to you, Ritika.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker for the day is Shakti Priya Gauri. Her evaluator is Joyita, and she is giving the speech for the humorous speech contest preparation. Can we have the speaker on spotlight? Audio, video.
I am
check.
on spotlight.
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Thank you.
Everyone is requested to give feedback to her after her speech, and I'll share the link for her feedback in chat section. So Shakti Priya Gauri, it's all about Shakti Priya Gauri.
The engine is revved up, the boarding complete. After hours of being in panic mode, I made it, and the flight was up in the air. I looked outside at the azure blue sky with clouds floating in and the sun shining on them. It was going to be a long flight, so I pushed back my seat, put my sleep mask on, and was ready to wind down. No! I find next to me a 2-year-old who was shouting for no apparent reason. Annoyed, I pressed the call button to ask the air hostess for a change of seat. The way you're judging me right now, so did she, and said no. But can you believe the reason she gave me for doing so? Apparently, I can't change my seat if I'm traveling with the kid. I tried. Madam Toastmaster, fellow passengers, I was traveling to Hawaii with my cousin and his wife, their 9-year-old son, Anirudh, and their 2-year-old daughter, Ananya. Honestly, I wasn't sure what I was signing up for at that time. After all the shenanigans of packing half the household, dragging the kids to the airport, passing security, which took forever, and reaching the boarding gate, where people looked at us and instantly decided that they didn't want us there, we finally made it in the flight. There I was, dreaming about the white sand beaches and the beautiful sunsets, and was ready for my nap when my cousin and his wife conveniently got a headache and went for one instead, which left me in charge of Anirudh and Ananya. Anirudh started reading. Okay, this was good. But for Ananya, it was food time. You see, she had a ritual. She had to watch a show every time she's fed at full volume. It's as if the volume control for the phone also controlled how much she opened her mouth, which meant 5 rows before and after us could hear, well, everything. Noticing that I was struggling, Anirudh knew that it was the perfect time to ask me, trick me into buying him junk food from the carts. Now with import follows export. What is with kids and their impeccable, unmistakable timing of needing to go to the restroom the minute you're about to eat your food? Now she wanted me in there with her, that I could understand. But she also wanted me to see her business done after, in the pot. What are you even supposed to do with that? After seeing what I saw, there was no going back to eating food for the next 10 years. Finally, Ananya wanted to sleep and she needed her stuffed toy. So I opened one of the carry-on bags and found not 1, not 2, but 5 stuffed toys. That moment was when I realized why my cousin wanted me to pack all my stuff in one carry-on. Turns out I was just an excuse for extra baggage. With Ananya asleep, it was Anirudh's turn. Exactly when I was plugging my earphone in to listen to music, he kept asking, no, pestering me to play games on my phone that he had installed. Defeated, I just gave in. The worst part was that despite all of this, I could not even swear. The only time I'm a clean Toastmaster without ahs and ums is when I'm swearing. But no, they had to even strip me of that right. Today, I think back to that flight. And what I remember the most is not about all the struggle that I went through. Although I did spend the last 5 minutes talking about it. But what I remember the most is when Ananya hugged me and said, I love you, Shakti. Or when Anirudh told me that I was his bestest friend. But that's the thing, isn't it? The good old not realizing something's worth until it's gone. We all are waiting for when things will go back to normal. But when they do, perhaps you'll not have time to say attend Toastmaster meetings all over the world, or for all the birthday Zoom calls with family you didn't even know existed. Maybe we all need to just embrace the silver lining that our hearts are trying so hard to ignore. Now, the day of the flight, though, I did not think about any of this because there was only one thing on my mind as I stepped on the Hawaiian grounds. The flight back home. Contest Master.
Wonderful speech. I request everyone to give feedback to her. And the next speaker for the day is Rupinder Singh. His evaluator is Natasha Kumar. He is giving second speech from level 1 evaluation and feedback from effective coaching. The purpose of this project is for the member to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to a second speech. And the purpose of this speech is for the member to present a speech and receive feedback from the evaluator. Rupinder Singh, do something, Rupinder Singh.
Before I begin, am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are. Now you're not.
I'm going to start. Please do not hang up the phone. It was a Monday morning. You know what Monday mornings are like. Piles upon piles of email. 481 in this case. All important, all urgent. The last thing you want is an annoying phone call. The last thing I wanted was happening to me. My name is Jasmine. I've been trying to reach human resources. I need my experience letter or they will not give me my offer letter. I dialed a random number and I got you. Please, you have to help me out. Brilliant. Not only did I have a random phone call, an annoying phone call, I had a random, unexpected, annoying phone call. Is that the best you've got, Monday? I'm sorry, don't say sorry, do something. Madam Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, Honored guests, what would you have done? Would you have followed your mind and put the phone down, or would you have followed your heart and transferred the call? I will tell you what I did, but before I do that, let me telescope back to an incident that happened 2 weeks prior to this incident. I was working from home on my laptop, totally engrossed in work, when my wife walked in with 7 envelopes and 7 stamps. She wanted me to stick a stamp on each envelope. I was so engrossed in my work that I simply pushed those envelopes away. And then I gave my wife a look. My wife in return gave me a look. And I knew I was in trouble. I've been married 20 years to know when I'm in trouble. What was required of me? All I was required to do was stick stamps on envelopes. It would have taken me less than a minute. And instead, what I did to my wife was, it took me less than a second. It took her less than a second to get upset with me. And it took me less than a second to go after her to apologize. And all she had to say was, next time, do not refuse. Do something. Back in the present, I was trying to do something. My mind and my heart were in a turmoil. My mind, Rupinder, 481 emails. Somebody else will help her out. Why do you have to put the phone down? It will take you less than a second. My heart, Rupinder, it is only going to take you less than a minute to transfer a phone call. Transfer her phone call. I chose to go with my heart. Hi, Jasmine, please take down my number. 99589 73332. That's 99589 73332. Got it? Great. Now, I'm going to transfer your call, but in case that does not work out, call me on my mobile number and I will personally take the mobile to the HRB. Got it? Okay, transferring your call now. And so saying, I transferred the call, hoping that I do not get a call from Jasmine on my mobile because 481 emails. I did not get a call from her. Not that day. Not for 12 years. You see, this incident, it happened in 2007. In 2019, I was looking for work as a training consultant. I was sending proposals left, right, and center, and getting very few responses. And then one day, I got a phone call. Hi, Rupinder. This is Jasmine. Hello. You may not recall, but 12 years ago, you helped me out with an experience letter. I have been here for 12 years. And guess what? I'm the learning and development manager here. Rupinder, that day you went out of your way to help me. And let me tell you that tomorrow, when I send this proposal to my management, I will be there standing up for you. Okay. I know what you're thinking, that there is some good in this world and that it never goes unrewarded, that what goes around eventually comes around. Yes, it does. Only in fairy tales. Life is not a fairy tale. COVID happened. And while Jasmine and I never got to work on that proposal that I had sent, a friendship that germinated in 2007 blossomed in 2019. Dear friends, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, many times in your life you will get a chance to help someone out. It will take you less than a minute to help them out. It could be as simple as sticking stamps on envelopes or maybe redirecting a phone call. And many times you will decide out of ignorance, out of arrogance, out of contempt that you are too busy to help them. Well, the next time you feel ignorant or arrogant or contemptuous, let me remind you of what my wife said. Don't just refuse, do something. Speaking of my wife, I told her the story. You know what she had to say? You are trying to tell me that 14 years ago, you would not help me out, but instead you helped out a woman who did not call you for 12 years? Oh, God. I feel so sorry for telling this story to my wife. But as Jasmine said, don't just say sorry, do something. Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, sir. Now let's move on to the last speaker for the day. The last speaker for the day is Vishakha Sharma. Her evaluator is Raj Mehta. He is giving first speech from level 1 evaluation and feedback from visionary communication. We have speaker on spotlight. Can we have a audio video check for you?
Hi, Hritika, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Am I visible?
Yes, you are audible and visible. Vishakha Sharma, I am who I am. I am who I am, Vishakha Sharma.
Indian Hindu Brahmin, looking for a bride. Extremely beautiful, passionate, rich, powerful, patriotic, should know how to raise a child, should be able to cook, wash, and clean. Also, should be able to balance a beach ball on her nose. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I think you might have figured out. This was a message that I woke up to one day from one of the prospective grooms who wanted to honor me by marrying me. This is one message that I've shared, and I have been getting plenty of such messages since the day I decided to adhere to the societal norms and get myself married. This, this is how the groom and the family wants to see their prospective bride. But for those of you who know me, this does not define who I am. This does not define Vishakha Sharma. The process of getting myself married has been a real eye-opener for me. I started with a very basic checklist. Intelligent, decent, interesting. You see, very basic. But my checklist has come down to not an idiot, not creepy, and not bossy. Nonetheless, I have had my shares of laughter and awe and bewilderment throughout this process. Let me give you a better picture and let me illustrate an example. One day, a guy called me. After initial exchange of pleasantries, the conversation began. Tell me something about yourself and why should I marry you? There's so much about myself and why should he marry me? Interesting. But as you see, I am sanskari, traditional, and I don't talk back. So I could not tell him that how utterly ridiculous his question was. So with a smile on my face, I gave a very cheesy response. But at the back of my mind, I was transported to an interview room where the interviewer was asking me, tell me something about yourself and why should we hire you? Anyways, the conversation, which now seems like an interview, continued. I believe the guy was a very good listener and he would have made a great accountant in one of our meetings. Guy said that you told that you are a Java developer. Do you code in core Java or advanced Java? How is my preferred coding language going to impact our marital life? I was wondering and I wanted to ask the guy the same question. But I am sanskari, traditional, and I don't talk back. So I gave a complete explanation to my preferred coding language and why I preferred it in case there are any doubts. Might be like in some household, people are not allowed to eat garlic and onions, might be in that household, the daughter-in-law is not allowed to code in a certain coding platform. The question seems legit now. The conversation continued and came down to discussion about the hobbies and interests. He said, everything else is fine, but how are you going to do this Toastmaster after we get married? Toastmaster. And after we get married, he just assumed. So naive. I am sanskari, traditional, and I don't talk back. But this was where I lost my cool. With no smile on my face and anger in my voice, I told the guy that might be, looking at the quality of conversation we just had, he should consider joining a Toastmasters club. And while he is at it, he should make sure that we never end up in the same meeting room. Because no matter how supportive and positive learning environment we provide, but my urge to kill him would always supersede it. As you guys guessed it, we did not get married. But as an ex-VP PR, I did my job and promoted Toastmasters. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I understand that there is nothing wrong with defining the parameters when you're looking for your life partner. But I do not understand is the fact that how can somebody think that all those parameters would be present in just one person, and if the person is missing on any of the parameters, then that person is not worthy enough. My message to all the prospective grooms is that instead of marking me against your checklist, try and have a nice conversation with me. This might save you from getting all the recommendations that I'm going to very skillfully wrap in recommendations. I am who I am, and I have worked really hard to be who I am. So you get it. So good luck to you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Now, can we have a 2-minute silence for the evaluators to write the feedback? Timer, please show a red card after 2 minutes. Thank you, Timer Arjinder. I would now like to hand over the stage to the general evaluator, Elisa, and would request her to hand over the stage to presiding officer. Over to you, Elisa.
Thank you so much, Ritika. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, we have just experienced a banquet of speeches. I hope that your inner giant has been awakened, because we are here to learn, we are here to grow, and it's not going to stop with evaluations. This section of the Toastmaster meeting is the one of the important parts, because now we're going to hear from the evaluators who have been craftily preparing their feedback for our privileged speakers tonight. Having said that, I would like to introduce our first evaluator for this morning, Sheila, who is going to be evaluating the first speech of Amit Tandon. Sheila, over to you. Take it away. We can't hear you. There we go.
Thank you, General Evaluator Lisa. So Amit, I have to first tell you, congratulations. That icebreaker speech is probably the hardest speech that you will do. I know in doing my speech, it was the same thing for me. So I want to tell you that there are some amazing things you excelled at. You connected with people when you talked about your background. You talked about your passion for traveling. I think, especially with COVID, so many of us are excited at the prospect of traveling again. And you talked about how you were watching videos because of COVID and not out at the movies. We were able to connect with you in some very real and human ways. So you did a great job with that. During the speech, I had a little bit of a hard time. You talked about the title being Standing Tall. And I thought it was really great that you started off kind of in a conversational tone with us. But what I had a little bit of a hard time figuring out is where your speech actually began. And sometimes when you start out a speech in a conversational way, it can be a really great way to segue from speaking to whether it's the general evaluator or the Toastmaster of the day, a great way to segue into your speech. What happened was I got a little confused about what direction you were heading in. So I think that could be something that you may want to work on in the future, looking at your title and then thinking, how do I want to structure my speech so that I can start in one place and then move to another and then move to another. So maybe next time in a challenge for yourself is you could use, in this instance, maybe for an example, use your background to talk about how that helped you to stand tall. Or perhaps you could look at you said something in the beginning, my experiences make me better for tomorrow, or something similar to that. Maybe you could use that phrase to explain how you're standing tall. I also would love to see you use gestures more. I'm still learning how to use gestures as well, so I can't say too much about that. And looking at the camera more, but I also know in public speaking, it's very hard to do that. So those would be a couple of things. I love some phrases that you used. You talked about being an optimist at heart. I love that. Loggerheads with Murphy's Law. I absolutely love that phrase. I think I'm going to steal it. And sleep well by thinking tomorrow will be better. It really does point out that hope and that optimism that you spoke about. So those were all phrases that I really enjoyed hearing in your speech. And I love that you ended with a quote. Overall, great job. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Sheila. I would like to take a moment just to congratulate Sheila on her first evaluation. She has definitely awakened the giant within, and she has taken Toastmasters by storm. So congratulations, Sheila. Excellent evaluation. Up next, I would like to call to stage our second evaluator for this morning, Khushbu. Khushbu, you're always so energetic and outgoing. I can't wait to hear your evaluation. So over to you, Khushbu.
Thank you, Elisa, and good morning and good evening, my fellow Toastmasters. What a lovely interview. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Seeing in this small screen the two people side by side, one asking question, another one answering, it was a complete pleasure for me. This project requires for the for the Toastmaster to evaluate his skills and to know what are his skills required for the interview. And this was clearly visible in your speech, Toastmaster Kapil, where you have answered every question and given a good highlight of your skill sets. You have showed us you have 18 years of experience in chartered accountancy and cost accountancy. You have showed us with relevant examples how good you are a team player, and you have effective leadership qualities where you acknowledge your team efforts as well for the effort, for the award. You have also showed us how dynamic and relevant you like to stay when it comes to your skill sets. You have also showed us how important it is for you to know that you need a growth professionally. You need challenges to grow yourself. And anyone who knows it is the perfect person for me to hire in my organization, though I don't have that big organization. Having said that, in one place, there was a question, what are the challenges you like? How would you face any challenges? You have given a very good example of how you worked with a startup for 2 years. But if you would have mentioned the skill set in that, that would have added value to your speech. Another recommendation that I have for you is that at relevant places when you were answering, you were repeating words like, I understand that, okay. That somehow gives the interviewer an idea that probably you're not confident or you are nervous. And after listening to the speech, I felt, maybe this is not correct because it is on Zoom, I felt that you were getting breathless. If you were getting breathless for genuinely anxiety issues, then you need to work on it. And if it was not there, then it's absolutely perfect to not have control on breath, because we are all here to learn how to control our breath while speaking on a mic. Toastmaster Avjinder, for you, the questions were absolutely precise and to the point. And I love that. Having said that, I have just two recommendations for you. Number one, when you started with the interview, you didn't mention us for which position you are taking the interview and who are you. If the audience knows that for which position you are taking an interview, it will give audience a good idea what all skill sets is required for that position in what size of an organization. You mentioned you are a startup, but what is the size in terms of the value of the startup? Second is, when you ended the interview, you just said that, thank you so much, we will get back to you. If you would have told him, because after listening to the interview, I felt that he is applying for a senior position. If you would have given a good feedback, like, I loved your skill set, your experience, there's loads to learn, and then we shall get back to you after discussing with the senior management, or we'll call you for another round of interview. Something like that would have given the person who is giving you an interview a good feeling. Overall, it was a fructify speech, fructify interview, and I thoroughly loved it. Thank you. Over to you, Alyssa.
Thank you so much, Khushbu. What an excellent evaluation. And like I said, always presented with so much energy and poise. Thank you so much for providing that. I would like to call on stage our next speaker for this morning, who is always so joyous and affable, and it helps us bring out the best in us. And that would be Gayatri. Gayatri is going to be evaluating speaker number 3. Over to you, Gayatri.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. Talking about Surinder Bhaumik's speech is really a delight. The gratifying comparison drawn between the current situation of farmers' protest and the quote from George Orwell's book, Animal Farm, definitely connected with me as an audience. All farmers are equal, but some farmers are more equal than others. Statistics you shared with the audience definitely made your case. You connected the farmers' protest with the book very effectively. Your body language was in sync with the speech you delivered. Vocal variation while narrating the cauliflower incidents was bang on. And most importantly, eye contact was flawless. You were looking exactly where you were supposed to while talking about the about the digital platform. When I talk about vocal variations, I would also like to draw your attention on the fact that the pace of the speech was perfect. And considering that eye contact and pace is what was recommended to you in the previous speech, I must say that you implemented the feedback, and hence the objective of delivering the speech has been completed. There are a few areas where you might want to work on. When you started the speech, it actually felt that maybe you were going to talk about the farmers' protest. But then you said that that is not what you were going to talk about. So I believe that that a lot of time was spent on context setting. That time can be reduced considerably, and thereby the speech can be a little more smooth, and there won't be an abrupt transition for the audiences. That transition can be smoother. All in all, you kept the audiences hooked to your speech throughout. We were looking forward to listen to more on what you wanted to say. To challenge yourself, I would suggest you take up a few more current topics connected to current affairs and deliver the speech, because that appears to be your area of interest, and that is something I believe you are doing a good job at. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gayatri, for that interesting evaluation of so many important points. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, we need these evaluations so that we can focus on not only what the speaker did well, but what can be improved. And in this way, we do definitely awaken that giant and learn more and more every time. Our next evaluator is going to be Joyeta. She is so dedicated and so determined, and we're very excited to hear from her. She will be evaluating speaker number 4. So over to you, Joyeta.
Yeah, thank you, Elisa. I just request Timer and Shakti Priya, please bring them in spotlight before I start.
Timer will be displaying the cards by sharing screen, so we don't need to spotlight them.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. Journey would be joyful if we have great companions with us, but it would be just opposite if it is totally different from your thought. That's what today's speaker talked about, her journey in the plane with 2 little kids. She started with a beautiful limericks that absolutely appropriate, and the way she expressed helped all the audience to engage to her story. I really love that the way she articulated each and every moment with beautiful sentences and the way of expression. She mentioned that the 2-year-old kid, Ananya, how she bothered her with the different tantrum. That's really amazing. And I really connected with that to you, because I too have 2 kids and I know what is the pain for that. And how keep on Aniruddha was asking you a question and keep on requesting you to play games in your mobile. It's really annoying. And the way you have explained, I really love that. And Shakti, while I was listening to you, it's a complete pleasure for me, because your sense of telling a story, expression, voice modulation always helped us to engage with your story. Now, coming to the recommendation part, what I felt that if you could have little far from your camera, then I could have seen your hand gestures, so that it will help us others to understand your body language perfectly. Because I was just seeing your face and your expression, although those were very appropriately presented, I was connected. But as you are present in the bigger audience in future, so it should be good if you practice little far from there. And another thing, sometimes I felt, as this is a humorous speech contest, and sometimes I felt that the laughter is little less and your expression took away that content. So just focus on those parts that where you are bringing the laughter. You want to bring the laughter, the punchlines there. So you should not give too much of expressions there. So just try and go back this recording once again. I hope that would be helpful. And coming back, I really loved your body language, your voice modulation, expression, the facial expression. Those are amazing. Lot of those things we could learn from you. And finally, I just once again iterate that keep yourself just far from the camera, and just think about that how you can modify few of the expressions during the stating the laughter lines. Okay, all the best to you and great job.
Joyetta, thank you so much for that excellent evaluation. You know, your evaluations just come through how passionate you are about just getting the most out of Toastmasters. And that's definitely seen in all of your presentations. So thank you very much. Our next evaluator for this morning is Natasha. Natasha, you're so brave and focused to come on to this morning and present. We look forward to hearing you as you evaluate speaker number 5. Over to you, Natasha.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Toastmaster Rupinder, addressing this to you. You are a master storyteller, and you aced it today with a beautifully presented speech, perfectly sprinkled with anecdotes, gestures, triads, owning the stage, voice variety, pacing, the perfect power of the pause. All the components that go into making a great story. So wonderful presentation. I compliment you on all those. I particularly liked, when the triads that you used: random, unexpected, annoying phone call, ignorant, arrogant, annoying again. Those really add so much spice to a story. The anecdotes that you presented with the perfect use of gestures helped connect and captivate the audience perfectly. I also liked how you actually got into the character and moved yourself on the stage, when I said owning the stage, you moved here when you were talking about Rupinder when he's speaking from the heart, and Rupinder when he's talking from the mind. So you were getting into the character and actually sharing that experience with the audience, which was a great takeaway for me, because I have a lot to learn in terms of storytelling. However, at Toastmasters, we do believe there are two sides of a coin, and there is always scope for improvement, particularly when we are preparing for contests. So a couple of suggestions that I would like to make is, at some point during your speech, you move towards the end of the stage, and your entire conversation was, towards, if you look at me in the screen, you were standing mostly at the end of and then suddenly you probably remembered and you came back and you stood in the middle of the screen. So that is something you may want to practice. You could practice with a mirror in front of you, and then you'll be able to kind of improve upon that. While gestures do add a lot to a good story, sometimes I feel overuse of gestures can be a little distracting. So I did feel that they were a tad bit overdone, particularly when you talk about 7 envelopes and 7 stamps, or I was transferring the call, or push the envelopes away. Every little sentence in a story does not really need to be supported with a gesture, because they can get a little bit distracting. So while they do add to the impact of the story, they could also distract if they are too many too overdone. And finally, I think that, you ended the speech brilliantly when you said, don't refuse, do something, when you talked about your wife coming in and saying that. But I felt when you did not need to bring Jasmine back again. That was a good bang, and that should have just closed the speech there, because that was where I was waiting for the applause. So, but when Jasmine came back into the picture and reiterated the same thing, it took away the bang from the story. So if you continue working on the great use of vocabulary, gestures, owning the stage, power of pauses, and just work on the closure and the subtle use of gestures, I think you're on to become a great, I look forward to see you on the international stage. All the very best.
Natasha, thank you so much. I loved how you had so many different comments and how at the very end you came in speaking about the structure of the speech. Sometimes I think we forget about that. So thank you very much. Excellent evaluation. Our final evaluator for this morning is Raj Mehta, our intellectual and effective member of Toastmasters, who we would like to welcome onto the stage to be evaluating speaker number 6, Raj Mehta.
Thank you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Elisa. I am sanskari and I don't talk back. This reminded me a scene when I used to take my daughter to Gurdwara and she would say, I am Rubal Mehta and I won't take this turban on my head even while going into the Gurdwara. Yes, I am what I am. Today, Vishaka told us who she is and who she wants to be. It is the story of her getting married. Getting married in such a way that she was forced to appear in an interview. An interview in which questions were asked which were not of her liking, or which were not of her choice, but the questions which were asked from her by the would-be bridegroom. In her story, she told us about how she had to take the dupatta on her head. In her delivery, she had open arms, she counted on the fingers, and she gave a very good gesture and body movement when she came into the characters of the speech, herself as well as the bridegroom. She also took a pinch on the laughter while using the points from Toastmasters, like point of counter, point of Toastmaster, Toastmaster, and supportive and positive, means environment. But at the same time, I felt that she spoke with ease and confidence. There was no haste, and the message was clear. However, there were some points where I feel she could have improved a bit. She fumbled at 1 or 2 points when she was speaking garlic and onion, and also she was a bit hesitant while giving the last sentence of the speech. I would have also liked her to end the speech in a loop, that what actually happened at the end, as she got married or with whom. And one more thing, she said the message of the story is this. Instead of using the word, the message of the story is this, the speaker should straight away you tell the message. Otherwise, it was interesting speech with a laughter here and there and with some message in the speech. And I like the speech, and I'm hopeful that we shall be hearing many better speeches from the speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Raj. Wow, we always appreciate hearing you. You have such a refreshing perspective and a different angle to bring in on things. So it's absolutely fantastic. Fellow Toastmasters and guest, what did you think? Did you take away some interesting notes? Did you awaken that inner giant? Did you hear anything that you said, okay, I'm going to learn from that speaker and I'm going to learn from that evaluation and I'm going to apply that to my own speech because I want to grow and I want to learn? I hope so, because that's exactly what we're here for. And it's with that pointed feedback that we can continue to improve our performance and our speech giving. Having said that, there is one more aspect of this meeting that cannot fail, and those are the reports of the tag team, who have been feverishly taking notes throughout the meeting to make sure that we are keeping with the boundaries of grammar and different kinds of observations. With that, I would like to call the first person of the tag team for the grammarians report, which will be given by Sumit. Over to you, Sumit. Is it with us? Yes. Sumit, are you there? If you are, you're muted. Okay.
Yeah, I'm there.
Perfect. Over to you, Sumit.
So overall, this is a very good meeting with 6 excellent speaker and 6 excellent evaluation. And I will start with some of the improper usage. Some of the improper usage were there when we use the term myself, yourself, and that particular area, I think we had some of the improper usage by some of the team members in the meeting. We have somebody has used finance person as one of the word in the speech. Nobody is a person. We are not a finance person. Probably having an experience in finance is something better in terms of usage. And my favorite city in the world could be there were a little bit of verbose used whereby extra word has been added. My favorite city is more than enough. Manager versus manager is something I found found where the pronunciation could be better. Avjinder, you are a perfect interviewer, and Shorendra, it's a great informative speech that we had from you. Joyita, you have used journey in the plane versus you can probably have been used a journey by air. That would have been much more better in my view. Some of the times we have used Hindi words, which is our national language, but we need to be aware that we are in, we have to use translate these words into into the meeting language. Some of the wonderful usage we had this morning, and Amit Tandon, you have used passion when truly utilized and accentuated as 2 words which were used very well in your speech. Kapil, a better version of myself. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. It's a very interesting way to put the reality of life. Feather in my cap, gaining the ground. These are some of the fantastic words used by you, Kapil. Shorendra sir has used instigated, mercy, social and political injustice, throwaway prices, which means very low prices, metaphoric onions. Some farmers are equal and some are more equal. This is a wonderful usage. Shakti, you use the word azure blue sky, which means azure means the blue color of a very clear sky. It's a wonderful way of presenting the picture in your speech. Impeccable, in accordance with the highest standard. This is what you have used. Rupinder has used multiple words in his speech, and some of the words I missed, I came to understand when the evaluation was happening. He has used random, turmoil. Turmoil means a state of great disturbance that somebody is facing at a particular point of time. Rupinder has used blossomed and germinated, which means produce flowers, something which is productive and which reap benefits. I think the fructify word rightly suited in this particular point and can be used at this particular point, which also means bear fruit and make something fruitful and productive. Vishakha has used pleasantries, which means a mild joke, and superseded, which means something which takes place of something else. Bewilderment, in the feeling of being perplexed and confused. Sheila, in her evaluation, has re-emphasized the use of the word by Amit, which was Murphy's laws, which I missed when I was taking notes of Amit's speech. Khushbu has used effective leadership qualities, dynamic and relevant, challenges to grow, fructify used twice in her evaluation. Thank you, Khushbu. Gayatri, used bang on, which means to the point, bullseye, hitting on the bullseye. Joyita used tantrum, which is an emotional outburst usually associated with somebody who is emotionally distressed and have the capability to put somebody in emotional distress. Nitasha, master, you are a master, you have used master storyteller, anecdotes. These are the words used in Rupinder's speech. I have missed that, but when Natasha reiterated those words, it came to my mind. Anecdotes, random, expected, annoying phone calls, owing the stage is something that you use in your evaluation. Alisa, you have used the theme of the day in your evaluation, which is awakening the giant, which bring back us to the memory that we are the theme of the day is awakening of the giant. And fructify has been used by Khushbu very well. Thank you. This is the evaluation that I have for today. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Sumit. I'm amazed by such an intelligent report, meticulous and so extensive. Thank you so much for all your observations and for sharing that with us so that we can also pay more attention and be aware of those wonderful, beautiful sentences that we are using. As part of the tag team, we will also be calling on the counter to give us their report about how we did this evening. And for that, I'm going to call to stage Ruchita Malik. Over to you, Ruchita. Ruchita, we can't hear you.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you are able to see my screen. So today on the R counter report, we did well, but there were few areas where we can improve. As of in today's speech, I was not able to see any R's from Surendra sir, Shakti Priya, Rupender, Sheila, and Lisa. There were 4 R's from Hartika, 2 crutch words, Amit, 3 crutch words and 1 short pause, Kapil, 3 R's, 2 crutch words and 2 short pauses, Avjinder, 2 crutch words, Vishaka, 2 crutch words and 1 short pause, Khushbu, 2 crutch words, Gayatri, 1 R, Joyita, 2 R's, Natasha, 2 R's, Raj Mehta, 1 R and 1 crutch word. That is it from my side on the R counter report. Over to you, Alyssa.
Thank you so much, Ruchita, for such a complete report. And also the fact that it's visible. This helps us to really connect with the information that you're sharing with us. Thank you very much. Last but not least, part of our tag team, we're going to call on the timer who has been taking note of all of the speeches and whether or not they met with the standards of the 5 to 7 minutes that was required. For that, we will call on stage Avjinder. Over to you, Avjinder.
Thank you, Lisa. So the first speech, which was the icebreaker, had a time of 4 to 6 minutes. And I would like to say that Amit Tandon finished in 5 minutes, 56 seconds. So that qualifies. That was a great icebreaker speech. The normal speeches are 5 to 7 minutes. So of the 2 interviews, Kapil Kakkar did it in 8 minutes, 20 seconds. So that went quite overboard and doesn't qualify from the timing perspective. Surendra sir's speech was also a little overboard at 8 minutes and 17 seconds. So that also doesn't qualify from the timing perspective. Shakti Priya did it in 6 minutes, 23 seconds with a 30-second grace period that does qualify. Rupinder Singh did it in 6 minutes and 51 seconds. Vishakha did it in 5 minutes and 54 seconds. So with the exception of Kapil and Surendra, everyone qualified from timing perspective for the speeches. From evaluation perspective, Sheila did it in 3 minutes and 10 seconds. That qualifies. Khushbu did it in 4 minutes and 18 seconds. So that's over. Gayatri did it in 2 minutes and 28 seconds, qualifying. Joyita did it in 3 minutes and 8 seconds. So that is also within the time frame. Natasha did it in 3 minutes and 50 seconds. So that's a little overboard. That doesn't qualify. Raj Mehta did it in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So that qualifies. Everyone did we are on time right now, as you can see. And in spite of all the number of speeches that we had today, I think everyone did a great job in starting the call on time and also by finishing their speeches within the time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Avjinder, for such an extensive report. It's so important to be able to stay on time because this is how we conserve and we preserve the time for our audience, and we are respectful of them. Having said that, and before we go on to the general evaluation, let's take a minute and do the polls. So Avjinder, if you could please give us a minute on the clock and please select who you thought was the best evaluator and best auxiliary role player. Excellent. And now the best auxiliary role player, who you thought shined this morning. Thank you, Avjinder. Please go ahead and finish up the polls if you haven't already, as we proceed into the general evaluation. Awakening the giant. This was the theme of the night. And I feel like if the giant hasn't been awakened within you after all of that buffet and wonderful speeches, then perhaps nothing will. Today was an outstanding meeting. We had so many people who put in work and preparation to present this. The meeting was started on time. Rupinder made sure of that, always aware to make sure that all the role players are there ahead of time to be ready with their reports. So many wonderful things that happened today. We had our Toastmaster of the day, Haritika, who did a fantastic job, always with her joyous presentations as she went from one speaker to the next and presented them in all the correct order and effectively. Haritika, I love your enthusiasm. I love how you presented the theme and how you gave such an excellent speaker intro. I thought it was outstanding, amazing job. One recommendation for you might be to sit a little bit further back from the camera so that we can fold your hand your presentation. Another thing might be to try to incorporate the theme a little bit more throughout your presentations, maybe between speakers, just give a little comment about the theme, perhaps give some kind of it could be a poem or something, just to bring it in a little bit more. But other than that, every time I see you on screen, your joyous countenance just makes me smile, and I think it does the rest of us too. So thank you so much for doing such an outstanding job and making this meeting truly shine tonight, this morning. Next, obviously we had our speakers, which were evaluated. And certainly, we've got our excellent and outstanding evaluators. Sheila, I absolutely loved how your comments were so specific. It just made it so clear that you were listening intently, so that when you gave your evaluation, you did the best job that you could, because you were truly listening. One recommendation might be to adapt the camera angle so that we can see more of you and we can also appreciate your gestures. But other than that, outstanding, fantastic. Khushabu, what can I say? Something that stood out to me in your evaluation is how you were focused on what different phrases were presenting emotionally.
Looks like we lost her.
Yeah, let's give it a minute while she comes back. Kapil, we can continue. We can start with the feedback from guests right now, in case Alisa isn't back in time.
Okay. Sure, Rabinder. So what a wonderful meeting we had today. At one point, I saw 27 members joining our meeting. I think this is the highest people that attended our BlueQuest meeting. Priyanshi, I see you as the first timer in BlueQuest team meeting. I would like to have a feedback from your end. How you
Alisa's
felt
back.
about-
Alisa's back. Alisa, please continue.
Please forgive the
Priyanshi, I
internet
come
problem.
back to you in a minute now.
Let's continue with Alisa for now, and then we can. Yeah.
Okay. My sincerest apologies. The internet just went down for a minute, but I shall proceed with my evaluation of the speakers, of the evaluators in this case. As I was saying, Kushabu, I just loved how you were able to catch on to those phrases that transmitted emotion. One recommendation would be to pay attention, just be careful with the time and also with your eye contact so that you're looking directly into the screen. I felt like you were looking a little to the side. Gayatri, you had so many great observations and recommendations. I love how you connected with the eye contact, vocal variety, and you noticed all those different smooth transitions. The only recommendation I can possibly think of is just always make sure to make full use of the screen and raise your hands as you speak so that we can connect with you further in that way. Joyeta, I love how you came up with such an interesting introduction to your evaluation. You were far back from the screen so we could fully appreciate all your gestures, all your body language, and you brought this all into play. You spoke about punchlines. You had so many different recommendations. It was great. One thing would be maybe with the gestures to just possibly tone them down just a little bit so that they're a little bit more controlled and don't distract from what you're presenting. Natasha, wow, I was blown away by your evaluation. You talked about the power of the pause, connect and captivate, two sides of the coin. Amazing, outstanding. Only recommendation would be perchance to include a pause here and there so we can keep up with all of the evaluation that you are providing. Last but not least, Raj, again, I love how you started out with the story, even used an object as part of your evaluation. Great recommendations. Only thing I could suggest would be maybe the lighting. I couldn't fully appreciate your facial expressions because you were kind of in the dark, but that would be about it. Other than that, excellent report by the role players. They did a fantastic job. I want to congratulate once again our Toastmaster of the day. Outstanding. And just congratulate everybody for sticking it out and being here for this wonderful speech marathon of Awaken the Giant. Having said that, hand it over to the presiding officer, Kapil Kakar. Over to you, Kapil.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much. Okay. So, Priyanshi, I was talking to you. Could we get the feedback from your end?
Yes, sure. Thank you so much. So firstly, I would like to thank Toastmaster Rupinder for inviting me here today. And there was not a single dull moment in the entire meeting. I was hooked up to the screen, and of course, I had planned that I would leave after hearing the speakers. But because all the speakers, role players, and the evaluators were so energetic that I just couldn't leave. So thank you so much, and just continue this spirit. Over to you.
Thank you, Priyanshi. Looking forward to see you again in the next meeting.
Absolutely.
Jim, could we have a feedback from your end?
Hi. Yeah, it's always great to be back. I've learned a lot of things today. I have to stand further back from the screen. Don't use a virtual background so my hands appear okay. Always great to hear Alyssa really lift the energy and maintain that energy. That's something I can learn. And great speeches today and evaluations. Always happy to be here. Back to you.
And by the way, did you enjoy India-Australia Test Series, Jim? Okay. Next. Natasha, sorry.
Oh, come on, Kapil. I'm not a guest anymore. I'm a role player more. I feel I'm more a part of your club than a guest. So
Yeah, true.
always a pleasure to be here. And thank you for this repeated opportunity to energize my Wednesday mornings. Thank you.
Keep on coming, Nitasha. You add value to our meeting. Naveen?
Okay, thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to listen to speeches, and what a better way to start the speeches than by listening. Sorry, to start the morning and then to listen to the speeches, and especially humorous speeches in the morning. It makes up my day for the rest of the day. So they're wonderful speeches, and I really enjoyed them, and I got to learn a lot from them. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you, Naveen. Vishaka, so we have the pleasure of having Vishaka Sharma, who is our area director. So Vishaka, you were the speaker also. So could we have a feedback from your end as well?
So I don't have any recommendations per se, but I really enjoyed the meeting, and the way it was organized today. That the Toastmaster of the day was very well prepared. Everybody was very well prepared. Excellent reports. I really enjoyed the meeting.
Okay, thank you. And by the way, you will be glad to know that we added 4 members in the last 1 month.
Yeah. Congratulations.
I think, Rupinder, let's not take feedback from Gayatri and Haritika. They are more part of Blue Quest now. So it's.
Let's do, because I'm generating the certificate.
Okay. So Haritika.
Hi, Kapil. Thank you for this wonderful meeting. Though Rupinder sir told me that it would be a difficult job, but it was not, I think. And I had a wonderful experience. I learned a lot. And I always come to Blue Quest for learning. So looking forward to have such wonderful meetings with you. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you. Certainly you did a good job, Haritika. Raj sir, over to you. I know that you always keen to speak.
Thank you, Kapil. Like always, this has also been a great meeting and great learning, especially the evaluations and the speeches. Both were great. I really like the courage that Toastmasters of the Day today took and has done the role, and in the meticulous way, and also the role of the general evaluator. Of course, other role players as well. I'm not saying that others were not good, but of course it was a good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. And Gayatri, over to you. We want to hear something new from your end.
You want to listen to
Take it as a table topic.
I recently won the table topics contest at my home club, and Rupinder was second. I was first. So now Rupinder and I are going to together go for area level, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm sure that even at area level, I'll be first and Rupinder will be second. And then we will go to the division together. At division again, I'll be first and Rupinder will be second. And then ultimately I'll become the district champion. At least that is what I have in my head. At the same time, I'm also looking forward to the ISC, that is, our club contest, ISC speech contest, which is happening on 14th of Feb. So in my head, I have already started planning my second speech that I'm going to be delivering for the finales, but finales is quite long. It's quite far. So right now I'm focusing on my 14th Feb ISC speech. And the best part is that I'm really hoping that, Rupinder, are you going to participate in that speech contest? Okay,
Yes, I am. So is Shakti. So is Alisa. So is a lot of people.
So it's a lot of people. So I don't have many hopes from the ISC contest, but it doesn't matter what hopes I have and what hopes I don't. At least in my dreams, I am already presenting at the finals. And when I'm there at the finals, it is happening virtual because after it is happening, the finals is happening before June. So over there, everyone is in love with me. They're like, you are bang on, no recommendation at all. And finally, I have delivered a speech that has absolutely no recommendations, the pitch perfect speech. And now you can laugh at me if you want, because there is nothing called as pitch perfect speech in Toastmasters, because whenever you deliver a speech, there will be a recommendation. However, the only contest where I am not very keen on is evaluation contest, because I have already lost at my club. Thank you so much, Rupinder. Certificates are ready.
I want to say something if I'm allowed.
Oh, yes.
I want to say something to Vishaka. Vishaka, you are superb. You should record this speech and make it a viral video on Facebook. And if you happen to run a Facebook ads for this video, please select all the 3 tier cities. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to start with the certificates. So this is our automatic certificate generator. You'll start with the best speech evaluator 3, who is on a mission to win more contests than Toastmasters International can organize. Many congratulations, Gayatri Deshmukh. Can we have a round of applause for her, please? Thank you. Our second best speech evaluator actually covered his head today, and that was such a wonderful, warm gesture. I'm pretty sure Rubal will be very proud. Many congratulations, Raj Mehta. And our best speech evaluator, I think what we should start doing from now is that every time this person takes on a role, we should just give this person the best, whatever role that they are performing. And then we decide the second and the third, or if there is anything like that. Many congratulations, Sheila McIntyre. For the best auxiliary role player, it was literally no contest today, as our grammarian ran away with it. Many congratulations, Sumit Juneja. Now, when it comes to the best role player, I'm not sure if you noticed, we did not have any polls, because I, in my infinite wisdom, decided that it was not an easy task for both the role players, keeping track of 6 speeches and 6 evaluations and everything. And while one can argue that one was better than the other, I decided to have a no contest. So many congratulations, first of all, Alisa Schneider, for doing the role of general evaluator. And many congratulations, Haritika Ahuja, for being our Toastmaster of the day. Both of them very challenging roles today. And I personally know that I would not have wanted to be either one of those. Coming to our best prepared speaker, number 3. All aboard. Many congratulations, Shakti Priya Gauri. Now, the person who came second is actually Shakti Priya Gauri's mentee. And he has a huge presence. Many congratulations, Rupinder Singh. And the person who came in first today is Rupinder Singh's mentee. So we have a mentor whose mentee won the second best speech and whose mentee won the best speech. Proud day for all mentors. Many congratulations, Vishakha Sharma. You might want to thank your mom, your dad, your dog, your cat, etc. And now, with a click of this button, your certificates will reach you. Thank you so very much. I will stop sharing the screen, hand it back to Kapil and or Joyita, and we could start taking roles for next week.
Yeah, sure. Any volunteer for the mod role next week?
Kapil, I would like to give a speech in the next meeting.
Okay, hang on.
I also want a speech slot in the next meeting.
I also want a speech slot in the next meeting. Khushbu here.
I also want something in the next meeting.
I was going to ask too.
Okay, we can't have speech marathons every week. So
I don't want a speech. I don't want a speech. I just want something.
we are not
You
going to
will
have
get something.
alcohol also. Okay, so I know that Joyita requested for a general evaluator. So she is getting general evaluator. Kapil, I leave it to you to decide who gets to be the 3 speakers next week. Who?
Okay. Actually, Avjinder showed his interest last week. So, Avjinder, do you want to do it?
Yes, please. If
I know that.
Khushbu also.
Khushbu also showed, so I'm adding Khushbu as a speaker.
Payal here.
And Payal. Okay.
So Avjinder, Khushbu, and Payal, right?
Avjinder, Khushbu, and Payal. Yes. Okay. Anyone who wants to play the role of Toastmaster of the day next week? Table topic master is open. 3 evaluators are open. Timer are counter.
I can be evaluator.
Alisa, what would you like to do?
Evaluate.
Okay.
It can be evaluator or the table topic master.
Raj sir, we will make you table topic master this week.
Okay.
With a
I have
promise
to-
that you will not call me for table topics.
That I will decide.
I'll take up some roles and then I will make an innocent face and say that you can't give me table topics today. Okay.
Ashu wanted a role.
Ashu, that is
Anshu.
Anshu
Yeah.
or
Anshu.
Anshu, what role? Evaluator.
Evaluator.
Is somebody doing table topics?
Yes,
Raj.
Raj Mehta is doing.
Okay.
I can do an
We are
evaluation.
Otherwise, we can give table TTM to Sheila because she should also experience it.
That's okay. You want to do it, that's fine.
We need a Toastmaster of the day next week.
Shakti Priya Gauri.
We can ask in the group also.
I am okay with Shakti. It's just that Shakti has to be okay because for her it gets really late at night.
It
so-
gets really late, sir. I am like surviving with half energy now, so
Yeah.
I can
that's
take
why
it
I'm not doing it.
Even with beaten around, how are you with half energy? You should be charged.
Oh, Raj sir, why don't you be the T mode? You never.
It cannot be until and unless it
Okay.
is national league.
Yes, for Raj also. We still have an evaluator open, a timer, a counter, grammarian.
Evaluator here, sir.
Okay.
I can take
Sheila-
up. I can take up timer or T mod.
I'll give you T mod for now because we need that.
Amit, can you become the R counter? Oh, sorry, the
Yeah,
timer.
I tried the R counter again.
I think we should take some roles from the group also. Why are we taking others from here?
That makes sense. We've still got.
I mean, we have members here who have not gotten roles, so we could try to fill that with people who are coming. And whatever is left, we can take it from the group, right?
Is Ruchita there? We could ask her to take T mod before I give it to Gayatri. Let me talk to Ruchita first. If she doesn't, then I will give it to Gayatri. Sheila.
Gayatri, see, he's like denying you of your rights to play the Toastmaster of the day.
It's okay. It's okay. It's not about the rights. I'm willing to take up any role. I just don't want grammarian. I'm okay with any other role.
Okay, you don't want grammarian. Sheila, do you want grammarian?
I can do grammarian.
Otherwise, we should give the role to the person who doesn't want that role.
No, I have done grammarian so many times, and being an English teacher, the only thing I do, even when I'm not a grammarian, is अरे इसने ये गलत बोल दिया,
There's
उसने वो
some.
गलत बोल दिया.
One day you will have to
There
get
is
over the habit of talking in Hindi
talking
when
in
there are
Hindi.
people.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I
I
keep
will
on
try to.
spotting
I will try
errors.
to. I will try to socially and physically distance you and Anant. That is where you are getting this habit from. Okay. We have
I'm never
timer.
gonna tell Raj what vegetables I do not like because he'll make sure I eat them.
Exactly. That is the way to. You know what? You know what?
That is the way.
That is the way, because that is what Rubal told me. She told me never tell him what you like.
Yeah.
I got that from his daughter. Okay. Alisa, our counter or timer? Make a choice now.
Alisa is not in the meeting.
Yeah, she had to
Took evaluator.
She left.
Oh yeah, Alisa took evaluation.
She
Sorry.
took evaluator.
Alisa has taken evaluation. So Amit, timer or Amit, I'm making you timer for next week.
Amit has already taken our
Okay.
counter.
Yeah, but he was our counter last week.
Acha,
So-
okay. I can take up timer then.
We have to tell Amit how to do the timing because he also has to see how to show the cards. So I'll share
will-
that with him.
Yeah.
Who is Amit's mentor? Does he have a mentor?
Not yet been decided because we also have to have Ashok to be inducted to do his first icebreaker. I have already guided him to choose his path, so he's already registered with.
Wouldn't Ashok
Pathways.
not need to do the icebreaker because he went through the Speechcraft program?
So you decide if you wanted to be that, he can straight away do
I mean,
the
you can
second.
ask him if he still wants to do the icebreaker.
I'll ask
Well and good.
I'll check
Otherwise,
out.
we can ask him
I'll
to
check
straight away move to level 2.
Yeah.
Amit, Amit, it's even more astounding that you have done your icebreaker without a mentor. Congratulations. That's very difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, for what it is worth, I did my icebreaker without a mentor.
So did I.
Mentee.
I want Gayatri to mentor Amit. Is that okay? Amit, is that okay with you?
Sure.
Yeah, it is absolutely fine with me.
Okay,
I'll have
Gayatri, start.
I'll have a
mentoring this
moment
guy.
of silence here.
Why?
Rupee.
Tera
Continue.
Your mentee is now becoming a mentor. You should be happy
She's
about
not
it.
my mentee. She's not my mentee.
Oh, she's not.
One of the few blessings I have in my life.
Apart from the keyboard role, he also rejected me as his mentee.
I know, right?
Shakti, look at that.
What is Shakti going to do?
Very disappointed.
I'm leaving.
Ex-coach.
Thank you for coming, Raj Mehta.
Thanks,
and,
Raj.
thank you
Thanks
for
so
that
much.
incisive evaluation.
Thank you
Okay,
so much.
we are missing an counter with the Toastmaster of the day too. So Gayatri, how about this? I'll make you are either going to become an counter or the Toastmaster of the day. I will let you know by the end of I'll let you know by Friday.
Done.
Okay. Okay then.
Ciao.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna go sleep.
Yeah, you
Good
better go
night.
sleep.
And